Hello and welcome to Kinship Connects, a podcast from SDA Kinship, sharing our stories and our journeys. My name is Floyd Poenitz, and today it is my privilege to speak with Sergio Pizon. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay, good. Welcome. I'm glad you're joining us today. So tell me, where are you located in the world?
Thanks for inviting me. I'm in Sydney, Australia. Originally from Venezuela, though.
Venezuela. Okay. How long have you been in Australia?
Been 10 years now.
Wow. Okay.
It's been a while.
Great. It's home for you now? Do you
It's
feel like
home,
it's
yeah.
home?
I try to make it home.
Okay. Very good. So let's go back to Venezuela then. You said you were born and grew up in Venezuela?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
So, like I was born in El Guayabo, so Maracaibo, but I grew up in Maracaibo, which is like an hour away fly from Caracas, the capital.
Okay.
It's all the tropical weather. It's the oil state, or used to be the oil state with all the wealth.
Wow.
It's the opposition in terms of politics. It's the opposition of the current government. So
Okay.
it's a quite interesting state to live in.
Sounds like paradise.
I grew up with my mother, my dad, my stepfather, actually, and never get to meet my real father until I was 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's an interesting story there. And then I studied engineering in the local university. So back in Venezuela, we studied in public universities. Quite hard to get to those universities. Studied engineering. Then when I was 26, I decided to make a change based on what was happening there. And then I moved to start looking, and then Australia was, the best option for me.
Wow. That sounds
Big
great.
change.
Sounds great. So before we get to Australia, let me take another step back again. Did you grow up in a religious home, or what kind of family religious did you grow up in?
Yeah, so I guess I developed from a very early age this connection with God. I guess it was influenced a lot by my grandma. So my grandma was a Christian woman who couldn't read. And at the time that she visited us, she always asked me to read the Bible for her. So I imagine myself like reading all these stories in the Bible that I saw, like Job or like Moses. For me, it was like, wow. And there wasn't any other book, child book, that could like overcome that, So
Right.
it was amazing for me, and I enjoyed. And then she sort of, she was like, my mother was a very hostile woman, and she doesn't speak English, but probably she will. But she was very strict woman, like,
Okay.
so my grandma was like that lovely kind of like maternal side that my mom, how you think about your mom, or how you usually expect your mom to be, So I developed this connection from my grandma. We were very close, and I used to read the Bible for her. And then she invited me to church. She initially was going to Pentecostal, and then later on she became Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist. She passed away when I was 15.
Okay.
It was a very sad moment in my life, very hard. But before that, like 3 years before that, I have this conflict of religions. So I started going to the Catholic church, and then I sort of drift apart from my grandma, but I still read for her because she asked me to. I just didn't want to attend to church.
Right.
And then, but sort of something that really got my attention was the way Seventh-day Adventist study the Bible, which is a quite unique way, like with the devotional. We use a lot of devotionals. So like the 365 days devotional,
Right. Sure.
and then also the pamphlets for the Sabbath school. And I love the fact that I'm a very organized person. I think I developed that from a very early age, and also from my mom. So like I love the organization of everything. So I used to read the Bible, and I was like, wow, I like this, kind of in my head, but I still was attending to the Catholic Church. So it wasn't really until my grandma passed that I sort of started questioning a lot of things. And then at the same time, I have an auntie, a Seventh-day Adventist auntie. She never really baptized because she couldn't. But I used to go and visit her in another city, which is like 6 hours from where I am, where I was. And then I used to go and attend, and then we start talking about revelations, like all the this and like, so which is the part that you cannot interpret when you read a Bible at such a short age.
Right.
So that really got me. And then I started going here and there Saturdays. And then I got this fascination for revelations. And then I started, what is this book called? The Last Events, or like the conflict of the events. And then I was like, oh my God, so much, like, and then when I came back home, I started attending church by myself, So I think it was a direct call from God, And when I say I was converted from a very early age, is because also I have to go through child abuse by myself. I never told anyone. At such a short age, so I have to go through all that by myself. So the only person that it was really for me there, it was, and that's something that I don't usually share with. I share with friends here and there, but I share the fact that that's why I believe in God, because like, how can you deal in such a short age and make good decisions in life? It's only a God behind all that,
Right.
So, so I started going to church, and like, I baptized when I was 17.
In the Adventist church?
Yeah, so I've been, say, 20 years now?
Okay.
Church. So obviously, but besides church, obviously, there've been times when I'm being like very, what it would be very devoted to it, and very like, I think we all have those moments of feeling like really close and
really close to God. Yeah.
And there have been moments when you feel apart, but that's not necessarily because you've chosen that, but because of somehow the whole conflict between being gay or being trans or whatever is your condition, or or who you are, not condition, correct. Correcting my language. So yeah, like, so I have a lot of moments when I sort of start experiencing my own life, like living my own experiences, which I believe if I would have the right guidance, I would have made a lot of mistakes that I did, So, but I never stopped going. I never, regardless of my experiences of going to the world and, doing whatever thing in the gay environment, I always have this connection with God. In fact, before coming here to Australia, I pray. I remember myself praying and being so close to God at that time. And even God showed me in a dream, in a very vivid dream, that I was like in a vote in an opera house, like only the God that we believe can do that, like, and that's something. So the only thing that I've been conflicted with, it's been being gay, because that has never changed.
Right.
And that has never changed, not necessarily because I'm a child, I was abused when I was a child, or because I didn't meet my father. It just hasn't changed because that's who I am, It took me a while. to
Mm-hmm.
understand that. It took me
Right.
a lot of work. It took me going to the psychologist. And then when so SDA, which I believe it will be the next question, SDA kinship, I was like kinship, I was like, wow, this is like new knowledge for me. This is, like it was like, again, like being converted
Right.
again, sort of thing.
Right.
But before that, I made another ministry called Coming Out.
Okay.
Um,
Coming Out Ministries. Yeah.
I like it, and I try to live in what they preach.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's so hard because what they basically preach is you need to be celibate, you need to be single forever, like
Right. Right.
you're only spiritual. And you can do that. I mean, I tried that.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work for 2 years. I was so unhappy. I was so empty inside. I was even
Mm-hmm.
becoming bitter, So
Wow. Yeah.
I think in life we always have to sort of compare, where are you, And like, yeah, you have a relationship with God, but also you need to ask yourself what makes you happy. And that sort of allows you to have like, because obviously there are guidelines and commandments and all that, but
Mm-hmm.
salvation is not because we meet all that. It's because we live a life in the best way possible according to the word of God. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there are no guidelines about so many things in the Bible for us, like,
Right.
should you go to a party or shouldn't you go? Should you go to the cinema or shouldn't go? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always a decision based on that.
Right.
So if you limit yourself so much, you just only get to a point where you unhappy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's only fair to feel like you need to be also happy, like you need to
Right.
love
God
God.
wants us to be happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe God also wants us to be happy,
Exactly.
And that's the thing with a lot of Christians, like we impose these sort of limitations and things and rules that we have to do according to their own experience. But I think it's really important to get to a point where you say, okay, this is who I am. This is what I like to do. I need to compare it, how much benefit is actually bringing to my life. And then, I think God sort of enjoy that we make those mistakes and we sort of make those comparisons. So we kind of sort
Yeah.
of appreciate what is to have a quiet or what is to have like a deep connection with Him.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So at what age did you realize that you were gay, or that you were different maybe from the other boys around you? And did you try dating girls in Venezuela maybe? Did that work? Did you just immediately know, hey, I'm gay and this is me?
All right. I'm going to be look, I don't identify myself as bisexual.
Or bisexual? Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, just because I never, like at the beginning, like there is also a lot of discrimination in the gay community, and we know
Exactly.
it.
Right.
So basically, I never have the openness to say, this is who I am, this is how I feel, this is how I see it, So when I was growing up in my 15s, I was attracted to women, I tried to date women and all that. But then, as I said, my mom was so strict and so like that I didn't quite experience that. I sort of experienced that, but just for a short bit. And then when I was in my last year of high school, I met this friend. He was gay, and he sort of explained me how like the whole gay and like how it was everything. I was like, wow, I didn't have any information whatsoever back there. I don't know if it's, I believe that it's totally different nowadays, but back then it was like new knowledge. There wasn't that openness, like I grew up in a country where I believe that we open-minded, but not that open-minded, like there's a lot of like discrimination and a lot of like people calling you names if they know that you're gay or you're effeminate. Like there's no that acceptance or that movement of acceptance that is nowadays. So I had that for probably the first years of high school, and then you change. You need to become more serious. You need to become more straight acting.
Right.
Because that
life gets real.
They're happy to fit in, you know, to avoid that bullying from your colleagues, so from your students, from your peers. So then I think that's when I started. When I was 17. I always was attracted to men, but I also feel like I was also attracted to women. I just never experienced it. I never allow myself to experience it more with women, because when you start dating guys, it's sort of become a thing in the community. You're either gay, but you cannot be bisexual. You cannot like both, kind of thing.
Right.
Here is obviously more acceptance and it's more open and all that, but back then it wasn't. So my friends who were gay and I started hanging out with after I finished high school, they didn't even believe me. They thought I was just trying to be this person that I wasn't, you know. So I sort of stopped. I gave up on women for a long time, and then I started going to uni. I made my first partner at the time, and then, but I was conflicted inside, you know. I was like, oh, this happened to me because I was abused as a child, or you know, like, or the whole religious, or the whole, I will call it religious because rather than spiritual, you know, like I was conflicted with all that, so it didn't quite went well. I was 19, so to be fairly honest, it wasn't until my 33 that I really came to the realization, which it was 3 years ago. You know what? This is who I am. This is what I like. You know, I've been dating guys for this long, and I have to come to terms with this, because I can't just be like, you know, that person, you need to change. I fight it for so long, you know, to be this person or to try to live by these standards. And I just came to, and then I met this person, this one of my exes, or my last exes, that it was someone who helped me a lot. That he said to me, and do you think God doesn't know that you're gay and you do all these things, you know? He said that to me, and that sort of resonated with me a lot. And I was like, well, that's true, you know? So why? And then that's when I started sort of living a more balanced life, because before I have a lot of periods when I was like wild, you know, like any other person, which I'm not very proud of, you know. And I think, and obviously that changed the relationship with God, you know. And that's when I sort of started like thinking, you know what, this is something needs to change in me, because I need to come to terms. And then I started going to the psychologists, and I started doing my work, and I started accepting myself. And recently, like about a year ago, I started looking for, okay, there needs to be a Seventh-day Adventist where that it's, you know, open to this, to discuss at least, or to, you know, to feel how I feel, because the way I feel is like, I cannot do both, you know. I felt like I have to do one or I have to do the other, but I couldn't do both. I don't know, like only people who have experienced that will know how you feel.
Right. Yeah. So at that point, is that when you found Coming Out Ministries first? When you were trying to
That's right.
Other Adventists?
Yeah, before that, I want to go through this sort of crisis that I went here, you know, like when I came here, when I was in Venezuela, I have like a mix of friends, you know. I have my family, I have a secure base. I never realized how much, I'm the type of person like that, when I jump into a race, or when like, I don't think about it, I don't go through those feelings. I don't reflect on that. I just do it, I just do it, and I sort of switch off that. I switch off that button. But then what you actually do when you do that is you disconnecting yourself from, like from the emotions, and that affects you. That still affects you. So I never took the time to that process, that mourning process that people usually say, oh my God, I migrate, I miss my family. I never went through that. So I think I went through all that 3 years ago when I went through this crisis. I broke up with this person, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't in a happy moment in life. Like I wasn't happy because I was a friend of mine and myself, we built a restaurant, and like I was, like running the restaurant for 5 years. I wasn't happy at work. I wasn't happy with my spiritual my spiritual relationship with God. I wasn't happy because I was already 33 and I wasn't, open to my family. So, and then I wasn't happy because the gay community, it's just, it could be very toxic, like you could have very toxic and that's, and as someone Christian that have the knowledge of God, you don't want to sort of live that life. You want to live a life which is kind of in between, kind of a normal life. That's what
Right.
well, normal is a tricky word, but I will use normal in this is a balanced life.
Sure.
You want to have everything, you want to have a relationship, but you also want to, have like friends that not necessarily they in drugs all the time, or drinking alcohol all the time, or like partying all the time. So that was the sort of friends that I was having. And I had an issue with that. I mean, no, I don't have an issue that they do that, but I have an issue that I was that person, And then that's when I just went through this. I would call it a breakdown or big moment of, realization. And then that's when I start going to the psychologist and sort of start looking for other options, and then coming out. It was good because I think it was part of the process, and I just, it wasn't until now that I see, I don't know why I never found SDA Kinship.
Right.
I don't understand why. I think God didn't mean to show me that at that time. So show me coming out, and I saw these big testimonials and all this, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I try to live by those standards, and I pray to God 1,000 times, change me.
Sure, exactly.
Please, please, I don't want to feel this,
Mm-hmm.
And you do it for a few months, and then you fail and then you start jumping to the apps again because you need to meet people, and actually
community.
I did. I shot everyone. That was me. I shot everyone. You know what? I'm going to leave by these standards, because if that's what God's word says, that's going to bring me happiness, He needs to make the change. And it's start challenging God. And I don't know if you have moments in your life when you sort of fighting God, like arguing with God. I do that all the time, right, especially when I'm in crisis. And I was like, you need to change this for me. And the amazing thing, Floyd, is it changed everything around me. It changed my work. I started working for a local university as a lecturer. I was getting in the peak of my career, in the best moment that I have, during all these 10 years.
Right.
But He didn't change that. And the interesting thing is, I went to this gay bar one night. I wasn't even open to people to date anyone, because I don't want that. Mm-hmm. But that was just me against it rather than God, And then I was like, God, if you want me, and that's exactly the prayer that I did to Him so many times. If you want me to believe in love, in real love, in this, you need to do that work. You need someone coming from nowhere and do this work, big work, because I'm not gonna move one finger. And that's exactly what He did.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, so it's quite interesting because I went to this bar, and then this guy started like staring at me, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Mhm.
But then I didn't pay attention. I just left the bar. Like 2 weeks after, I got this message through Instagram.
Mhm.
It was that this guy
Wow.
saying he sent me this long essay, basically saying that he saw me in the bar, and like the chances that happen in the gay
Right.
community,
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty much none, right? Like a
Exactly.
long essay, and like in the current society in general, someone showing that much interest in you.
Hmm.
And that's what he
Hmm.
did, he sort of pursued me, and like he wanted to date me, and like and then we start date. Like I say, look, we can be friends, and then we go from there. I sort of treat it as a any Adventist kind of
Yeah. Right.
relationship. That's how we
Right.
start, right? Friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
have the concept, I have the foundations. I said to God, look, I'm gonna treat it. I'm gonna treat it as I will do it in church. If
Hmm.
I will be dating someone else, and that's exactly what we did. We started like sort of, and then it lasted like a year, but it was probably it was one of the healthiest relationships and the more beneficial relationships for me. I wasn't prepared, I wasn't ready. We broke up, but it helped me a lot. It was the person that I needed at that time to show me all these different things
Right.
and to sort of challenge me,
Hmm.
challenge that part where I needed to, because I went from one extreme to the other. When in life, when you go to one extreme to the other, to the extreme of being this person who does all these different things while partying, to the other extreme
Yeah.
of being bitter. You don't do it anymore, but you bitter, you alone, you like,
Right.
you know. And then I was like, no, I need to find a middle ground. And
Hmm.
then I
Hmm.
start going to the psychologists, and then I sort of start seeing things from a different perspective. And that's when SDA Kinship happened.
Wow.
Long story short, coming out didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't buy it. You cannot live with these standards. And I hear recently a sermon about, like, if God want you to change, He will change you. But I don't think
Right.
that's the case. It hasn't
Right.
been my case.
I mean, we've all
He
prayed
has.
and prayed, and it didn't happen. So.
It didn't happen. He has the power to do it. He has definitely. He could do it. He can click his
Right.
finger, like change you like an instant. But if it doesn't happen, it's because it doesn't
It's
mean
not.
for you to happen in that way. That's no, and I firmly believe in those people who claim that God had changed it. Good for them, it had changed it, but it hasn't been my case. Hasn't been my case.
So did you
Uh,
Google kinship, or how did you stumble across SDA kinship?
recently I was like, I was just like, because that's the story, right? I've been dating this person for 1 year now,
Hmm.
and that's the moment when you have to show him what you believe, because
Hmm.
otherwise, what is going to happen. That person is not going to understand you, and like that's a big important, like an important part of my life. And then I thought, you know what? But then he has his own experience with the church, a Christian church, and he felt same, felt like discriminated and all that. So I started looking for a church, and I thought I need to find a church, because then I'm attending a church here. Even
Hmm.
when it's not open, as I said before, I have this ability to switch off. And
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
I only take the good. I go in there because I believe in God, because I have this connection with God. But then it's sort of we don't discuss. Even have a group of friends. They're all married. They have kids.
Hmm.
I'm the one. I think it's a secret in silent,
Okay.
like in great voices. Like they know that I'm gay, but they don't
Just don't talk
really.
about it.
We don't talk about it, and I'm fine with that. But then
Hmm.
I don't think my partner will be fine with that. So I start looking for for churches, and I thought, you know what, there should be something out there. And that's how I found I think the Facebook group or the Instagram. And then I start Googling, and then that's when I contact you. I try to go, but unfortunately, you don't have a location here.
Right. We have several members, but not, and with the pandemic, it's really hard right now to get together in person. Hopefully that'll change. Yeah. Are you near Sydney? Or where? Are you close to Sydney?
In Sydney, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Sedland. Someone in the group say that there is a church that is open, but I want to try that, but it's a bit far from here, from where I live. So, but anyway, I've been listening to all these different, topics and discussions, and I'm like, wow, like, I'm converting, and I'm just living that first love again, kind of thing.
Good.
Rekindling with God, because how could I mix that? How could I allow others to interpret certain things in the way they interpret it?
Right.
How could I allow that? And I think it's really important. And the reason why we're here and I'm telling all this is because I want things to change. I want gay people, or LBG, I don't know what it stands for, all the letters, be inclusive, church.
Amen.
We need to discuss about this. We need to talk about this, because what is happening is people are going to other parts to find that happiness, and that happiness, the thing is that happiness is not there.
Right.
And I experienced that. I try it, but you feel this emptiness, this, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who feel the same. They just want to have a balanced life, a life that is healthy. We're all spiritual, and they need this, but they don't want to be, and that's something that they know for church, and they're stronger in that sense. I think I sort of compromise that a lot. I compromise being myself, being bisexual in the church. But there are people who don't want to go to a church when they feel discriminated, or when they feel like they want to be inclusive. So I think that's the reason why I came here, because I want to, tell the world that you can do both. And that's not going to change. That's not going to change. God is always going to be there for you. Always. You cannot doubt that. I had the biggest, I can tell you, I think I pretty much have told you at least three testimonies today. How God took me from, he basically brought me to Australia. You know how hard it is for a Venezuelan to come to Australia. So I feel like any other, it's really hard to come here to this country. It's really hard to make your career happen. It's really hard when you speak a second language. You're always part of the minority, the minority. When you're in God's side, part of the minority. You're part of miracles, big changes in life, and that's me. And people, some people pray me for that, but the reality, the only, of course I done my work, but the only credit, it's for God. That's the one who deserves that credit, because that's the one who made it happen. It made happen this coincidence, or this, you know how God works.
Beautiful. Yeah. I can see he's definitely been working in your life, and just putting all the pieces together for you. So I'm very, very happy about that. Yeah. So if you had one closing parting word for other LGBT people out there, Adventists who are trying to put the pieces together and make it fit, what would you tell them?
I will tell them that we all need to do our research. We all always need to compare what you were experiencing before, and how will you feel if you try this new approach, because it's hard. Changes are always something challenging for us. as humans, it's very challenging for us. So if you want to make a change, make sure you're factual about it. You do your research. You can see a lot of, I did it as well. I watch a lot of conversion therapy documentaries, and
Right.
like how all these people have been affected by this, you know. You can compare it with yourself. Have you tried to change, and have you changed? Have you asked, have you prayed to God, and it as in be possible, you know? And you need to sort of come to terms with that, you know. But I will say first do your research, sort of put yourself really in the hands of God. Like, you know, tell him, show me what you want from me, because it gets to a point when you get like you in the middle of that crisis, desperate. That would be my really put yourself in the hands of God, and be open to do your research, and be open to do those changes, because they are changes. They changes for, you know, to come to terms to yourself and to your own happiness. That's would be my thoughts.
Awesome. Beautiful testimony. Thank you very much, Sergio, for being with us today. I appreciate that. And hopefully we can have you back at another time and hear the continuation of the story. So
thank you for inviting me. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for sharing with us today. We hope that today's podcast was interesting and has given our listeners some things to think about. Seventh-day Adventist Kinship is the only LGBTQIA+ affirming community for current and former Adventists. We welcome not only the Rainbow Alphabet members, but also parents and family members who want to learn more about how to support their loved ones, and supportive allies who stand with us to make a difference in our church and in our world. You can check us out on the web at sdakinship.org, or follow us on social media at SDA Kinship. If you have any questions or comments, or you can email me at info@sdakinship.org, or if you have a comment for Sergio, I'd be happy to forward those on to him. And we look forward to having you with us on the next podcast release. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.